quick release pins, snap pins, and keeper plates with cap screws and lock washers. Do not operate the crane until all connecting pins are properly installed and retained. Most important is to remember that the integrity of many crane components rely on secure pins. Do not jeopardize safety by operating a crane without properly installed and retained pins. Check that the boom angle indicator electrical cord is plugged securely into the junction box on the boom butt, and that the boom electrical cord is plugged into the shorting plug on the rotating bed junction box. This boom electrical cord must remain plugged into the junction box during assembly until the boom is attached. Before starting the engine, it is important to perform pre-start checks. Follow the daily schedule in Folio 1597 777 Lubrication Guide and look for leaks resulting from fittings loosened during transport. Repair or refill all components as needed. Now, start the crane, referring to the operating controls folio for identification and operation of all controls. It is normal for the system fault alert to stay on after the engine is started. It should go off when engine hydraulic oil temperature rise to normal. If the alert does not go off soon after startup, determine the fault indicated on the digital display. Stop the engine and correct the cause of the fault. The butt and mast have been pinned together for shipping and must now be unpinned. Place blocking below the butt and high enough so that the butt need only be lowered a minimum distance. Lower the butt onto the blocking to relieve stress on the pins, and then remove the pins. Warning: do not attempt to raise or lower the mast with the boom butt attached, except to lower it a small amount onto blocking. The mast will be damaged if booming above 10 degrees is attempted with the mast to butt pins installed. Also, avoid death or crushing injury during crane assembly by taking every precaution possible. Maintain communication between the operator and assemblers, and do not raise or lower the boom butt until all assemblers are off the crane. After the pins connecting the butt to the mast have been removed, raise the mast a little and store them in the lugs on the mast. Disconnect the rigging pendants from their storage positions on the mast. Raise the mast further and connect the pendants to the upper wire rope guide on the front of the boom butt. Now, reeve the load line to the supplied single sheave assembly block, attach the 4-leg chain sling, also supplied, to the hook, and raise the mast fully. Position each car body jack by first removing the vertical connecting pin, swinging the jack out, and reinstalling the connecting pin. Then remove the horizontal pin, pivot the jack to its vertical position, and pin it. Remember to secure the pins with their retaining pins. When all jacks are deployed, remove the jack pads from their storage positions and place them below each jack. Using the controls on the front of the car body, extend the jacks to engage the pads and connect the pads to their jack rods with the U-shaped pins provided. Make sure that the pads are set on a flat, firm foundation that will support the maximum load placed on them, which is 60,000 pounds each. Do not set the jack pads in holes on rocky ground or extremely soft ground. If necessary, use wood mats or steel plates under the jack pads to properly distribute loading. The mats or steel plates must be free of defects, strong enough to prevent being crushed or bent, and of sufficient size to prevent settling under the load. If unsure, contact the Technical Services Department at Manitowoc Cranes Incorporated for ground-bearing information. Before raising the 777 off the trailer, warn everyone to stand clear to avoid possible crushing injury. Then raise the crane by fully extending the jacks, watching the two-way level mounted on the car body near the controls to keep the crane as level as possible. When the crane is fully raised, slowly pull the trailer out from under the crane. keeping the crane level, lower the crane until it is at a comfortable working height. Note that page 2 of Folio 1590 has a table listing the operating limitations at various points of the assembly process. From this chart, one can see that a 360-degree swing is now permitted. To make crawler installation easier, remove the steps over the planetary and set them aside. Make sure that the drive shafts are positioned at the rear of the car body, which is the side opposite that of the car body controls. Position the trailer along the desired side of the crane close enough that the lifting radius is within 15 feet. The crane will tip if the attempt is made to lift a crawler greater than 15 feet away. Remove the keeper pins and collars from the crawler connecting pins on the car body and retract the pins using the lever on the car body remote control. Attach 3 hooks from the chain sling to the lifting lug on the crawler's inboard side and the 2 lifting links on the outboard side. Before installing the crawlers, make absolutely sure that the 777 is level by checking the two-way level on the front of the car body and adjusting the jacks as necessary. Slowly hoist the crawler clear of the trailer and remove the trailer. Then slowly lower the crawler, and while booming up and swinging as necessary, engage the hooks on the crawler with the fixed pins on the car body wings. With the connecting holes in alignment, engage the powered connecting pins and install the collar and keeper pins. Next, stop the engine. Lift the crawler drive shaft off its supporting bracket and align the holes in the drive shaft flanges. Secure with flange screws and torque to 74 foot-pounds. Finally, extend the guard over the drive shaft and pin it to the car body. Danger! The crawler drive shaft rotates at very high speeds. To prevent serious injury, make sure the engine is stopped during drive shaft assembly and that the drive shaft is attached securely at both ends. Also, make sure that the guards are in place and attached properly at both ends before restarting the engine. Now unhook the chain sling from the crawler, swing over to the other side, and repeat the process for the second crawler. Danger! While handling the second crawler, do not allow the assembly block to swing past the inside edges of the car body jacks. The crane will tip. After both crawlers have been installed, start up the engine and slowly rotate the crawlers forward and backward to center the treads on the crawler rollers. If the rollers are not centered over the pad lugs, severe damage to the lugs or roller flanges may occur when the full weight of the 777 is put on them. Now again, keeping the crane level, lower the crane until the crawlers are on the ground. Then remove the pad pins, fully retract the jacks, store the jacks as before. And store the pads on the car body. Finally, reinstall the steps removed earlier. If your 777 is a Series 2, the car body counterweights must be installed before the upper counterweights are installed. Hook onto the 4 lifting lugs of the car body counterweight. Then boom, swing, and hoist as necessary to engage the slots in the counterweight with the lugs on the front of the car body. After disconnecting the chain sling, pin the counterweight to the car body. Then swing 180 degrees and install the other car body counterweight the same way. Next, assemble the upper counterweight stack. With the 4-leg chain sling attached to the 4 lifting lugs on the corners of the counterweight tray, place it on the ground, leveling it with blocking. Note that the rollers on the tray must face the crane. Now, connecting the chain sling to the lifting lugs on the side boxes, lift them into position and pin them to the tray. Lift no